Hey everybody, I'm Alan Brocken, the cool dad everybody's talking about, and I'm here talking about how I won this prestigious award. This is part three, the light at the end of the tunnel. And so I talked about in the previous one from the demands and work. I would run out of words and I couldn't connect with my family, and it was tough for this consulting job where I was traveling all the time. I'm going to pick up there with just where I was. I was leaving my kids hanging again without anything to say, and it's just tough because they're trying to talk to me. I got nothing, and I just hated it. I hated being in that position. Before consulting, I used to just have a lot of fun with the kids. We wrestle around and read books, and it was just a great time with them. And I tuck them into bed, say their prayers, and now they're just so far away, and I can't even think of anything to say to them. It was just tough. But then one night, I just said to my kid, I said, so what'd your stuffed animal do today? And all of a sudden, my child just gave me this silly story. Something about their duck did a funny thing, right? And so then I was like, as they're going on doing what young kids do with adventures in their mind, I just kept on asking, and then what happened? And then what happened? And they kept telling me. And so we had a great conversation that I was using, 4 words. And given how out of words I was, that was a Herculean effort, but it was something, right? We had a conversation. I wasn't just trying to get off the phone because I had nothing to say. They weren't bored because I had nothing to say. It was kind of fun. So I remembered that, and for a couple calls, my kiddos played along, and then all of a sudden, one of them was smart enough to say, "No, Daddy, you tell me what happened." And there I am again. I don't have any words. I didn't have anything to say. And they're sad. They're like, "What?" They wanted me to play along and all that. And so finally I said, "Let me think about what happened next, and I'll tell you tomorrow." As I went to bed, the whole thing stuck in my mind. And the next morning it was like an itch, right? Like, I got to do something about that. But I was doing my Bible reading and my devotional work. And I was reading this book, A.W. Tozer's The Pursuit of God, which to me is like the hardest Christian theology book I've ever read. I mean, I'm no theologian, but a friend gave it to me and said it changed my life, so I was reading it. One of the things about being in a hotel is you just have a lot of solitude. Like, you have time to just read a book and think about it. As I was thinking about the depth of the subject, I was really learning things about the Holy Spirit and about, how God works and how to connect with Him. And I really wanted to share that and find a way to kind of scratch that itch about what happened next, Daddy, with something that could share some of these things I was learning. But, it'd take me years to get in the right frame of mind to even read or learn some of these things. And so how am I going to get that across to my kids who are ages 4 to 9? I don't know. But as I got to thinking about it, I realized I might be able to solve kind of both problems at once. And I was like, so what if my kids' stuffed animals, and I put them into a story, right? Like something fantastic. I could use, that story to share some of the things I was thinking about. This is pretty bold. Like, I'm no C.S. Lewis. To be honest, I avoided a lot of the language courses in school. I got a degree in physics. And so it's one of those things where I'm not sure I can do a good story, but my kids really just wanted me to talk and interact, so if it wasn't a great story, that's fine. I started taking some things from my devotions, and I mashed them up with my kids' animal stories. And, like, in the hotel lobby at breakfast, I would sit down and write down a paragraph or something, and then I'd be off for the day. But it wasn't ideal. Because the job was just so hard, I couldn't do this every day. Like, I didn't have inspiration every day. I could go a week or more before I'd have, the next little thing to say. But I needed to come up with some other stuff to help make sure that I still had a way to connect with my kids. But, that line about great men rarely make great fathers just kept rolling around in my head. Like, I got to solve this problem more than I got to solve somebody's encryption problem. In lieu of writing little stories for them, I started to think about, well, what do they like, right? At one point my daughter was into archery, so I started thinking about that and finding articles. I think the Olympics was going on at some point in here, and there were some really cool archery things happening at the Olympics. Different things like that. So I found a news app, and I tuned what was on the app to things my kids liked. So I might at least I would have that Or, maybe I get a fun fact that way or joke of the day or something. I always just made sure in the morning I was pulling up something. This doesn't seem like a lot. It's actually pretty simple. A quick and then what happened and dad joke or whatever to make the conversation go. And I got to be honest with you, as I started down this path, it sort of solved my I don't have any words problem. But what I was just super surprised at what happened next.